Welcome, everyone, to Digital Inception, a podcast dedicated to spotlighting emerging tech in sales and marketing. My name is Allison. I'm your podcast host today and the founder of TechSpin Marketing Group. And we partner with software companies to help them scale their revenue. So I have an exciting guest today. I want to welcome Soumya. She is CEO and co-founder at The Loops. They are a support operations platform that provides visibility, insights, and automations across your support stack. So I am really excited to get a little bit more into the product, learn a little bit more about the company. So welcome, Soumya. I'm happy that you're here. If you'd like to just give a brief introduction of yourself and the loops, and then I'll dive into some product questions.
Sounds good. Thanks, Allison. I think you introduced myself. I'm the CEO, co-founder of the Loops. I'm so excited to be here today. What is Loops? It's a AI agentic platform for CX that helps bring everybody within the loop, which is people, process, and tools to increase efficiency and productivity. Right, the mantra of the day. Everybody's trying to do that. So yes.
Exactly. Yes, and I love that AI seems to be one of those things that's being more and more incorporated into tools. So just giving that extra boost to productivity and efficiency. So we'll get a little more into that as well. So first question for you: what inspired you to start the company, and what has your journey been like so far?
Yeah, no, I've been at big tech companies like SAP, ServiceNow,
Hmm.
was always a disruptor, transformation leader there in trying to disrupt the core technology or enhance it with net new capabilities. I started my startup journey in a previous startup where we were doing sort of conversational AI bots. And we soon realized that while front end bots are good, for giving you deflection and deflection up to 20-30%, that's not the key problem to solve, because that's good, those are simple problems, but actually the bigger problem in the enterprise is to connect the backend systems to truly drive operational efficiency within CX. And that
Hmm.
was pretty much the starting or the genesis of starting the loops. And in order to do that, you have to bring everything in the loop, which is, the tools, which is the data aspect of it, the
Hmm.
processes that you have to rethink and redefine, and
Hmm.
and the people aspect, which requires a lot of change management. So we started the company in 2000. And then, soon enough, the GPT or Gen AI disruption happened in November 2021. It kind of expedited everything that we were trying to do, from aligning the back end, bringing the things, redefining the process to really rethink. And now everybody's kind of coining the term around AI agentic piece. And that's truly what's going to happen in that space.
Yeah. Well, that sounds really exciting. And so what is the primary problem you identified? You touched on it a little bit, that really led you to create the solution.
So the primary problem, right? Like I said, deflection was the name of the game in support, but pretty
Mm.
much, the post sales journey aspect of it was very fragmented. And I
Yes.
think that pretty much happened within the era of cloud, where you created teams like success, support, professional services, product, anybody that was used to engaging with a product after I've sold it, right? And that's where
Mhm.
the pain point of a customer pretty much lies. In terms of when I have an issue, I have to think about who to reach out to, the company's organization standpoint, then the company figuring out, saying, it's my product. You should exactly know where I'm facing the issue and
Yeah.
serve me at the point that I need it. So the
Yeah.
mantra was to have, contextual insights delivered to
Mhm.
offer support. So when I have a chat bot in the product come in and say, can I help you? It says, oh, so I see the problem that you're facing. I know you've tried it 3 times. Let me recommend these 5 things. And if it's not, there's a seamless handover to a live agent and the downstream connectivity of the business systems, right? Which is truly
Right.
operational in that sense. Each of these areas that I defined had multiple different touch points. Oh, if the issue is product or renewal related, send it out to success team. If
Mhm.
the issue is breakfast, send it out to the support team. If it's the
Mhm.
issue is product related or sales related, send it out to sales team. But you know what? The customer has a problem. They don't care where the issue is. They don't care about your organizational silos. They're looking to have an exceptional experience, and they don't care about the categories that you've defined the world to be in, because maybe it's not in their world the category resides that way, right? So how can you take that onus off from your end user and give them a delightful experience?
Mm.
So when we started peeling the onion peel one at a time, it required multiple systems coming together in the back
Mhm.
end. It required connectivity. It required rethinking of the process at
Mhm.
every lens that we were connecting. And we are on that journey where we've figured out all the elements that you need within support to streamline your back end operations. Not that, chatbot is the only area. Everybody's coming from the front end aspect of it. We're trying to move it from back end forward. And then from there on, look at what's the next in success, what's the next in product that you
Mhm.
can truly, really rethink in offering that exceptional experience to the customer and taking the onus from them to understand your product. I mean, software will always have bugs. I don't think we can ever get rid of it in this even AI world. But how
Right.
can you self correct and self heal is the key aspect, and take the onus off from your end user.
Yeah, I think that's I actually didn't realize until you said it, but even as an end user, the chatbots do funnel you through a process, right? You've got to answer 5 different questions sometimes to actually get to an agent. And you know what I've noticed that I myself do, which I'm sure other people do this as well, is they just answer the questions as quickly as possible so that they can get to the option that says connect me with a human, right? But why do they do that? It's because they don't trust the information that the chatbot's going to present to them to solve their own problem. At least that's what I have found. I'm always, if I reach out for support, it's because I don't believe there is a resource that can actually help me. And I need to actually speak to someone because I feel that problem might be unique to me, right? It might be like a technical issue or a glitch or something that other people aren't experiencing. So, for the system to be able to identify what that problem is, I think I mean, I've never experienced anything like that before where it's, I'm told like, oh yeah, I can see that this is what you're struggling with. Here's exactly what you need, right? It's kind of like, oh, is this what you meant? And I get sent different articles, just it's a lot of guesswork. That's what it feels like, throwing resources at me. And I'm not going to sit there and read through 5 different articles and try to identify my own problem. I just want the help right now, you know? And as an end user of a lot of softwares, there's nothing more frustrating than troubleshooting, right? Because you
Exactly.
don't know if it's going to take you 5 minutes or if it's going to take you 2 hours or the whole day just trying to work through an issue. And if the tool that you're working with is critical, which a lot of them are, like you're trying to send an email or you're trying to get something done by a deadline, it's really frustrating to not have that personalized support at your fingertips, right? You've got to go through the whole process. Sometimes it's even emailing and then waiting a day or two to get a response. I didn't actually know I was this passionate about it until I started reliving some of the traumatic memories that I have dealing with support teams. So yeah, no, it sounds like it's a very, very cool product that definitely would add a lot of value. Uh,
It does, right? I think it's a mindset shift that's happening too. So whatever you described first was I would call it first generation of chatbots, right? That got out there, which were still getting me the right article, but still was not taking the friction out from the process, because after the article was served, could be right. Yes, I had to
mhm,
read about it. But if
mhm,
it didn't solve the problem, I was given to the live agent, or a ticket, and then they still asked me what my problem was, right?
right,
So
yeah,
and then, with that frontline couldn't do it because it was a complex problem, went to tier 2. The tier 2
mhm,
guy still asked me what my problem was, right? So it was taking the one area is to carry the context over. The
mhm,
second thing is, I think the chatbots have gotten a little bit more better at serving the
mhm,
right resolution, or even
mhm,
giving me the right paragraph, or writing it in the right natural language process where I can assess to solve the simple problems today. So I think that has gotten definitely better. But it's the next problem of the handoff to the agent and how that contextual information is served. So the
mhm,
agent is not spending time and kind of dealing with 20 different screens, or complex problems, like, or
mhm,
saying even where the shipment is lost and kind of saying, let me go call 10 people to figure out where that process is lost, right? So it's that connectivity offering at the second level. So it's kind of taking the difficulty at each stage and the friction out from the process. And the only way you can do that is if your backend systems are well connected and there's context carried over, right?
mhm,
I mean, look at the Ubers and the Teslas of the world, right? If you're driving a Tesla and you have overcharged your car, and you want to ask for support in terms of why they asked you to pay this extra, there's no support. Like, you can't reach a live agent. That process is completely well defined, that nobody can fool the system in kind
mhm,
of saying that, why did you overcharge me on charging a car, right? They fundamentally believe that it's 99.9% accurate with all the systems that are connected to it, right? So see
right,
the element of taking a human out of that whole support equation and
Mhm.
streamlining that process completely, which is product driven from me driving, charging my car, getting overpaid. And I will
Mhm.
not be allowed to recharge my car till I pay
Mhm.
that payment, right? So,
Right.
or I think that's how product experience needs to be connected with every element of
Mhm.
your journey of your customer engaging with you, as
Mhm.
opposed to being disjointed. And I think this AI era is going to get you there.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think that, that's totally right, and actually, I've got, like, a funny Tesla story. Well, it wasn't funny to us at the time, but we actually owned a Tesla for a short amount of time, and the customer support, I mean, I can see what they were trying to do there, they were trying to completely automate everything. They didn't even have a phone number that we could call, to speak with someone. It was just completely cut off from any humans on the other end. And we just went round in circles and circles, emails just unanswered because who knows where they ended up. And it wasn't because of the car that we ended up giving our Tesla back because we were leasing it. It was really the support. We really felt like we couldn't get any questions answered. There were things going wrong we needed help with. Nobody could get back to us. Nobody could give us answers. And we got the automated emails. Like we did get that, some information, but we could tell we weren't like speaking to a human. And I think that that's really something that companies need to consider is a bad experience will lead to customer churn.
Yeah,
And
no, absolutely. Absolutely. It's surprising you bring that up for Tesla because I think I'm sticking with the product. I'm a Tesla user in spite of
yeah,
what is going on in the market, aligned
fair.
with any political issues on that side. But I think fundamentally the product is amazing. And the
Mm-hmm.
service that I got for that product was amazing too, every time. So it's
Yeah.
surprising that you're saying that you left that product or you let go of that product because of the experience. And I'm sure everybody has their own thing. But
Mm-hmm.
I've been an owner for now 8 years and continuing on that journey because of the experience and the product that I get with it. And it's so tightly integrated that at any given point of time, I can walk into any showroom and kind of get, issues resolved if need be, because it's a physical entity. But imagine that with software, right? And we all are going digital with everything out there from a service standpoint that you really can't get away with it. So yeah.
Yeah, no, that's true. I mean, with software, there isn't a storefront you can just walk into kind of and, be in front of someone physically and demand the assistance that you need. Also, that's just a huge inconvenience to have to do that. But yeah, it's a lot easier for software companies to essentially neglect that portion of the business because they're not face to face with their customers, right? They're just responding to digital communication.
Exactly.
So, one question I have for you is what is an example of an existing software that competes with the loops that most people might go to because that's like a known name? And then what would you say is the loop's competitive advantage over that tool?
Yeah. See, I think I would say one of the big things over there is everybody within CX is looking at AI to be this simple problem solving, which is the end user chatbot.
Mm.
And most of my competitors in the market are offering that, right? That's the easy, quick win to show to the board. Or look at the number of deflections I've done, or look at the number. I don't need to hire 20 more agents to do the same job, right?
Right.
And that's traditionally been the case within support, even pre GPT and post GPT. Pre
Mhm,
GPT, it was a lot more of 9 months of aggregated work and decision trees. Post
mhm,
GPT, it's about a month or two effort of getting that done. But where the platform really shines beyond that is that that's 20 to 30% of your problem, depending on the industry that you're looking at and the volumes of interactions you're looking at within CX,
mhm,
right? But then what after that, right? Your journey with your customer doesn't stop there. It's now solving the frontline agent problem. Then
mhm,
it's solving the tier two agent problem.
mhm,
Then it's solving the handoff to success and to product teams. All of
mhm,
these are operational issues that you would want to start automating and thinking about, because support, I call it support interactions or CX interactions, are gold mine of your data. I
mhm,
can't tell you on and off. I've had discussions, and you kind of capture them at very early stage with B or C stage companies that we went with, as opposed to the later stage companies up there, because they have people there to kind of mine that kind of data. There was one customer we had where the CEO got in a meeting with their customer was Snowflake. Just giving you an
mhm,
example. And the customer said, I'm not going to renew my licenses. And the CEO said, he checked with the salesperson in the room. They didn't know about it. He checked with the marketing person because they were going to do the webinar, and they said, I'm not going to do the webinar. And by the way, I'm not going to renew the license to. And the CEO asked, why? What happened? He's like, I put in a request 3 months ago and it's still not been solved. Right. And I kid you not, after talking to the product leader, there was a support ticket in support that the customer had filed 3 months ago saying that this is a critical requirement. And if it doesn't get delivered, I'm going to be unhappy or whatever. They had a content that was left in a support ticket. Right. And nobody but the support leader kind of knew about that. And this is a small organization of what, 70, 80 employees, right?
Mm-hmm.
Imagine how much of things are getting lost in bigger organizations with the kind of interactions. And because support being so tactical in nature is not able to capture this and share across teams, right? So how
Mm-hmm.
do you start with an operations, building an operations where this constant flood of data is happening from support to other organs, and support is not being looked upon as a reactive organization, but a
Mm-hmm.
lot more that is contributing to the business outcomes, which is stitching the silos across systems and then working constantly with success product teams to kind of enable them with any of these triggers that are happening within that data while increasing efficiency and productivity tenfold with other operational pieces like knowledge management generation, right?
Mm-hmm.
People set up organizations around that stuff in support to write knowledge articles, and now imagine you can just generate knowledge on the fly based on successful responses. This could even lead to product documentation auto generations, right? Queuing, people spend 50%. Sometimes one organization I heard spent 8 hours per week of one manager's time queuing and coaching and enabling. Now you can do auto QA, but you can spend a lot more time gamifying the coaching element with your folks and employees within the organization. You can
Right.
share real time product. One of our customers said, this is the first time from support data I was able to tell product teams, we provided 10 requirements and they accepted none. And this was all data driven aspect of
Right.
it, right? All these bugs and feature requests that we've put in had impacts associated with each one. And the list that they provided was data driven without the need of hiring a data scientist and a data analyst within the support organization, right?
Right.
Sharing these insights real time. I mean, I don't know how many organizations that tell me the support leaders are constantly sitting, sales team is going on, they're like, how many tickets are open? What is it? For what kind of issues, right? You can
Yeah.
directly ask that in a Slack channel to one of the insights engine that's giving you that real time quick summary of interactions that have happened post sales, and what kind of interactions and which were not pleasant and which were unpleasant ones. So there's
Mm-hmm.
endless use cases that can be rethought and
Mm-hmm.
automated with an AI agentic layer without, with definitely human in the loop to kind of help evolve them and grow them. So typically folks or our competitors in this market are tackling the simple problem of a chatbot, but there is a lot more beyond that from an operational efficiency standpoint that you can achieve now with a platform like this, right? So I
Mm-hmm.
like to say this is the evolution of, like the way DevOps role got created when people moved from on-premise to the cloud. And all of a sudden, people were talking about, this 2-year release cycles to I'm delivering code every hour. And this was done by 2 people in the organization and not 40 people. I think this is the era we're going to get into where we're going to have a lot of CX operators. Operational engines will be set up where you're constantly rethinking the processes within the CX journey cycle. And you're able to offer, a customer experience that's phenomenal and delightful, not after, 10 months of building these teams and, bringing everybody along, but in real time, right? You're making changes with these connected systems and net new processes that are getting redefined.
Yeah, yeah, there's a lot there that you said that was really interesting. The one of the things that kind of caught my attention too is the data that you're getting and how useful it can be without having to go out and hire like a data analyst. Like you can, I mean, the way, and I've interacted with AI quite a bit, you can put in so many different sources of information and ask it to do lots of different stuff with it. And even just being able to put in, I don't know how many like any number of support tickets and summarize like key trends, for example, like what are the top features that customers are requesting through support tickets, because there's a lot, like quite often customers do request a feature, or they are asking if a feature exists, which indicates that they'd like to have that feature. And having that data, just being able to ask AI to consolidate that data for you and provide you with product insights that can actually feed into product direction without having to do all the analysis and having that dedicated resource, trying to identify.
Yeah, analysis paralysis on that piece. And
Mhm.
imagine if you can put an impact to it too, right? So it's not just the feature and you say, oh, it's coming from these six customers that are paying you $7 million.
Yeah.
Guess what? Engineering doesn't get a chance to do whatever they please like doing. You can
Yeah.
actually now say, go deliver this, because if you do, this will have a direct revenue impact on my organization, or there is a direct upsell opportunity associated with all of this stuff, right? These things take so much time to put together in an
Mhm.
organization and often gets lost if you don't have the right resources. But now it's just at your fingertips.
Yeah. No, I mean, when you put it that way, it really puts it into perspective just how valuable this type of data can be if it's leveraged correctly, right? And like you said, rethinking things like the processes and different ways that we like companies can use this data. It's not just about support either, right? And like even product features and making additions to the product and advancing it. I mean, that feeds right into customer retention as well, because the more you can build for your customers, the more they're just going to be a loyal customer and they're less likely to turn. So it really feels like a very proactive approach to the whole customer success support strategy. It's like it goes so much beyond support, is what it seems like to me.
Yeah, no, it is. It is. I think we're going to see the world in AI kind of collapse. We created a lot of silos. It's not just happening in post sales. I think even that's happening pre sales, right? I don't
Mhm,
think you're going to see departments that are so segregated in demand gen or marketing,
mhm.
or brand marketing, sales, or BDRs. It's all
Yeah.
going to start consolidating into, I don't know, sales or go to market, whatever name you want to give it, but it's
Mhm,
going to be one leader kind of giving all of that update top down. And it's happening already in the startup world, where we're trying to build companies that are 10 employee companies hitting $1 billion ARR. I think that's some kind of a bet going on in the market. If fundamentally people are thriving in kind of saying that, right? What Cursor is hitting, like what, $100 million with just 50 employees in the
right.
company or something like that. So I think the consolidation of business units, the silos that were created historically, will
Mhm.
be brought down, and they'll be driven by business goals, and each one will need to contribute towards the business goal.
Yeah, that's a really great point. I was speaking to another founder on a podcast session and he kind of had a similar idea, different but similar idea. He kind of saw he saw like roles going from specialized to more generalized. He thought that instead of having like BDR, like sales team, customer success person, that type of role would consolidate into one. So you'd have one person kind of managing from start to finish. So it's lots of different interesting like perspectives on where the future might go. But like, what do you think about that idea? Do you think that
It is
AI?
true. It's going to happen. I think we all are going to become a lot more of operators. We will
Mhm,
become managers of just not human employees, but also AI agents. So, like you said, I mean, we're seeing that already in sales, right?
mhm,
We're seeing
yeah,
the BDR. You're becoming a full cycle AE, where you're doing
mhm,
demand generation, you're doing, BDR, you're doing closing a deal, and it's all end to end. And you've got multiple tools in there to kind of
mhm,
achieve that. But in those tools are not, just siloed, giving you data for you to make decisions. They're
mhm,
making decision from one point to the other point as well, right? So
right,
they're AI agents that are completing a goal.
mhm,
And the goal could be like, you know what, give me a list of my ICP in this region. By the way, write a personalized email for each one. Execute that every week with these new features of the product and case studies. And once that gets executed, just, send me an email, or send an email out that this is an opportunity in sales, right?
mhm,
So now
mhm,
see how many of the elements that you've kind of eliminated and how many touch points you're happening. And all of that are executions of your AI agents happening in the back end that are doing the work for you. There was one company that I was looking at. I don't remember the name. It's not coming on my head right now. Where on the sales process, they had an AI agent that actually was doing a call for you as well during that
oh wow.
process, and did a product demo too. And if you liked the initial piece of it, then it
Mhm,
said, okay, let me set up a follow up meeting with a human
right,
person
all
associated
right,
in there. So
wow,
that level of personalized mapping. And I don't know if that's going to work for every product in the market, but for the initial ones, like, where you're selling your cosmetics, where you're selling all of those, things. If you can push something to me, and I can take a quick, 2-minute call and it kind of tells me what it is, or it sends me a 2-minute video that I can look at and see I want to engage with you in your product line is much, much better than, you hitting me 20 emails with just the content associated and checking my click opens and closing and all that stuff.
Yeah, it's like time to value is a lot shorter when you're able to kind of demonstrate something, right? Like a
Yeah.
preview.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I have another question for you. What are some or just one customer success story that you'd like to share?
Oh my God, there are tons of them. The ones that I like to share is actually with Gainsight, where we have kind of shown them close to 2,000 hours of cost saving per month. That led to them just getting a buy-in from their CFO to start deploying other use cases from the platform itself. So they
Wow.
started with topic classification routing, and then they moved to Copilot, which gave them much more agent efficiency. And now they're moving to Auto QA in terms of redefining the quality assurance programs within house itself, right? All of this completely driving efficiency while they're adding more and more to their product line, right? And keeping the organization flat, or they did reduce it by 5%. So say to kind of see the efficiency gain, and using those insights to a point that right now the loops insights are shared at the CEO level as well on whatever is happening within the support organizations to help success retention
Mhm.
elements as well.
Yeah. Wow, that's really impressive. 2,000 hours a month. That's you must be like it must be so fulfilling as, the founder to have built something that people are actually getting real tangible value from.
Yeah, there's another customer that has gone from 2% queuing of tickets to 100%, where they have saved close to 400K in cost savings by repurposing their QA managers to other jobs of better coaching elements and creating better coaching points because they were just queuing tickets,
Right.
and having a better alignment with the product teams in terms of what is trending within their environment. And this is Go Home, Monica talking about it. We've got endless ones where outreach is talking about other elements in terms of seeing trends within their data and able to kind of capture to prevent escalations, and then from there on kind of driving a lot more on QA, going
Right.
from manual to auto, and now deploying Copilot for efficiency of their agents itself. So it's a platform that doesn't stop with one use case. It is designed for productivity gains. It is designed to show you value of the number of hours you can save, and it is designed to help you get more out of your team, to make them a lot more productive and do the cost savings. So it's a true operational platform that shows tangible benefits.
Yeah, no, that sounds great. And I'm going to switch gears a little bit and ask a couple of other questions here before we run out of time. What are some of the company's growth goals over the next 12 to 24 months?
It's always 3xing your revenue, 3xing your customer count, so kind of showing growth exponentially, actually not 3xing your customers. You probably have to 100x your customers for that kind
Right.
of a growth. But, keeping the momentum, managing the momentum, and, moving towards becoming a billion-dollar company. So, yeah.
Okay, great. Yeah, I mean, it sounds like there's a lot of potential. Like I said, I mean, I haven't heard of a type of support platform quite like this. So I think that there's a lot of companies that really need something like this and probably just have never heard of anything like it. So another question I have for you is edit this silence out. But another question. Sorry, I'm catching up with my notes here. I went off script for a little bit there. All right. If you could wave your magic wand to fix one thing in the business right now, what would it be?
My God, enablement, I would call it. I think
Okay.
it is an enablement not because it's a problem, it's a mindset shift that's happening in the market. It's a new way of thinking, which requires a lot more of injection of bringing these customer stories to everybody across industries to say that, yes, AI is tangible and you have to think about it differently. And usually, when you need to change the mindset, it's not to look for the quick wins, it's to see the long term gain of what it can achieve and how to redesign your organization to this new paradigm that's happening, right? So I would say enablement and evangelism are the two areas that I wouldn't say they're necessarily challenges, but they are a requirement where you can't pick people in the market to say, I would pick, someone that created a community like that or did success like that. It truly requires disruptive mindset. Pretty
Mhm,
much of the people that did when they moved from on premise to the cloud era,
mhm,
where you had to think about cloud development completely differently. Same
mhm,
way consuming AI in this era requires a different mindset. And what
mhm,
can you do to drive that momentum, that cult, that ecosystem to say that, operational metrics, think about the strategic ones and the different ones, and how do you have to do that in the context of what your business does, right? So
mhm,
those are the things that I keep thinking, how can we do it differently? What else can we do to change the mindset of people within CX to not only look at just the volume of tickets or MTTRs or FCRs to say, how are you
mhm.
contributing to the business?
That's a really good one. I think, and there's a lot of people out there who say, like, AI is just a hype, right? But I really don't believe that. I think it's something that's so powerful and even it's almost like overwhelming, like to think of all the different use cases in these different areas, to think that some things before were never possible that are now possible, right? And I interact with
Totally.
them every day and I'm still surprising myself at like, wow, I never thought to ask this question before, but I did. And to my surprise, I actually got exactly what I wanted. So it's just incredible the potential that it has. And I personally don't think it's a hype at all. I think that there's so much more to come and that we're just scratching the surface and it's just going to keep getting better and better and more exciting as to what businesses can accomplish.
I totally agree. If someone is telling you this is a hype, this is not a hype. And I'm
No.
not saying this because, I have an AI company and I'm building it. I've been in software for now 25 years. I kind of date
Mhm.
myself here, and I've seen the cloud evolution, which, people were a little bit late. Big companies were late to kind of getting into it. I was at SAP and they were like, not going to happen. I'm not going to put the
Right.
financial data on the cloud. And guess what? Where we're in 2025, everybody's data is on the cloud,
Yeah.
right? Including your personal and professional data or enterprise
Yeah.
data. So I think it took a while for cloud to latch on, but this
Mhm.
technology that we have at hand with AI is super disruptive in
Mhm.
terms of the limitation of your transactional systems was because of the very fact that it didn't have intelligence injected into it.
Mhm.
Now imagine that you have an intelligence injected into doing everything.
Mhm.
So how you would redo that whole process? It'll be a
Exactly.
redoing of the whole thing, right? And I can see it being the CEO of a company running and doing my operations. I review all my customer sales calls or post sales calls. It's so easy for me to do that in this remote environment. It couldn't have been that easy 5 years ago,
Mhm.
right? I'm able to quickly assess and see, oh, which snippets I want to take. My
Mhm.
marketing, head of marketing, actually, she did a webinar. She transcribed the webinar, generated a blog, published it on the website in 24 hours.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is the speed. We couldn't have done this. What,
No.
5 years ago? You first had to find something to transcribe it. Then you needed an agency to write you a blog that made sense. Then you needed to
Mhm.
cut, SEOs on it and blah blah blah. Imagine how much savings we've done during the whole process and how many people we've cut off to get things done. So
Yeah.
that's just one example of many that I can think about within the enterprise. So it is not a hype. If everybody's thinking this is very much a reality. Otherwise, you wouldn't see the big incumbents jumping on this technology. Yeah, they're going to get it right or wrong. Time will
Yeah.
tell. They
Yeah.
have their own operational factors
Mhm.
which are going to from achieving and rethinking this.
Mm.
But this is going to be rethought. I mean, applications are going to be rewritten. Our mindset of building organizations are going to be rewritten. Us, managing people is going to be
Mhm.
rewritten because you're not going to just manage humans. You're going to manage these AI agents that are on 24/7. How do you
Yeah.
train them? How do you coach them? How do you enable them? Right,
Yeah.
so it's a completely different world that we're getting in, and this is not going to get a decade to get there. We're going to get there very fast.
Absolutely. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And I know lots of clients who are really fully embracing AI. And yeah, the amount of time they've saved, like the webinar example is great. I know a couple clients who are doing it that way as well. Another thing I think is really incredible, like a really great use case, because as a marketer too, I've always struggled with, thought leadership content, right? Content that doesn't already exist out there on the internet to reference, to use as a source. That's always been a challenge, I think, for companies. But when you can say get your thought leader in a room to just talk through a topic, right? Record that record that conversation and just plug it into AI and then write an article based on their thoughts that were in their head that live nowhere else, and being able to really produce really good content that's not, I mean, AI generated, but also not AI generated, it still
It's
has
not.
that.
It's helping you speed the process up, right? I mean,
Exactly.
traditionally, like it really helps me. I do talk to my AI. My AI joins
Mhm.
every call I get into. I summarize
Right.
it. I play with it. I try different variations of it, and then I publish it. But I couldn't have done this historically. I always needed someone to say, "Oh, can you look at it? Does it make sense? Is it
Mhm.
in the right tone? Is it not?" So it's there to assist you. It's not there to write your content. Your content and your thoughts are still very original, but it's giving you a lever to think about it in a different way, to position it differently, to articulate it that you couldn't because you had just so many thoughts going on. So I think it's definitely changing the dynamics.
Yeah, exactly. No, I totally agree. So I'm going to wrap it up now, but one last final question for you is where can people go if they're interested in learning more about the loops?
They should definitely go to our website, theloops.io. There's a lot of
Mhm.
content. They should hit the resource page. It's filled with our customer case studies, stories, content. If you're just even getting started on this journey, you don't know where to begin on, you're getting inundated every day with tens of people reaching out to you, hear a customer story out. I think that'll help you kind of really streamline and put your head around what's going on. And that's
Mhm.
how we have taken the approach. Just don't take with the word in the marketing out there. Learn from a customer, see how they are approaching it and where they've gotten quick wins and how they're staying focused on the journey cycle. So I would say definitely go to the loops.io, go to the resource page and click on a customer story and learn.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much. And thank you again for joining today. It was great having you. And I think the conversation was really good.
Thanks a lot, Allison.
Thank you.